Welcome to Honestly Rated, and today we'll be talking about your favorite earthbender, Barbella. Barbella is a name I've seen in my comments a couple times, and with this Friday being the Minecraft movie, and I expect a lot of people to go watch it, I think Barbella's a pretty good fit. And you might be asking why. She practically has 2 dirt blocks on the side of her barbell. I think she would be pretty perfect. But will her gameplay though? That's what we're gonna find out by taking a look at her gameplay and design to really see if Barbella was honestly ever any good. But before we jump into the gameplay, let me give you Barbella's lore. Barbella started off as a fitness trainer where she would promote good eating habits, exercise, and having her own gym called Flex a Lot. She was pretty happy. It was until the Gulper kind of ran through and fucking destroyed the whole place that she realized that bad guys were a lot more evil and a lot more dangerous than eating a couple Big Macs at McDonald's. So she decided to train as a sensei and became one of the world's strongest to ever see. Now with the lore out the way, let's go check out Barbella and see how strong she can really be. Starting us off, we have the Barbell Bash and Rocky Rep. Barbella starting off is a pretty slow character, but one that can do a lot of pushing around. Her primary, the Barbell Bash, is a great example of this. The 2 first hits with this primary always shove enemies. Then the final move knocks back enemies a really far distance. Then when it comes to Rocky Rep, it's 2 giant hands that come from the ground that if an enemy is in the middle of it or even around it when the collision happens will get a stun, allowing you to go for an easy primary combo and knocking the fuck out of anyone that's in your way. Again, the only downside to Barbella right now is that again, she's pretty slow as a character. For most enemies, you're probably gonna get hit, but that's kind of subdued by the amount of health she has and just overall the tankiness nature of her. And she's also a sensei, so she's already going to be really strong. It makes for just like a button mashy, somewhat fun, somewhat boring gameplay style. Next up is Cubic Runic Rock and Unsteady Ground. Cubic Runic Rock is a really fun word to say and also a really fun move to have. It allows you to summon a big cube of rock from the ground and absolutely play bowling with any enemy you see.
Nice throw!
It launches them back, does really solid damage, and is a really fun projectile. And also introduce another mechanic. When this square breaks, it drops little granite balls on the ground. These little clumps of gems act in 2 different ways. If you hit it with your melee attack, you can just send them flying at enemies, not doing that much, like 11 damage. If you leave them on the ground and you decide to do your melee still, when you hit that final attack that shakes the ground, it'll cause them to jump up and also do a little bit of chip damage if enemies are standing on top of them. Now, they're not really prevalent now, but they're going to be a big factor in Barbella in the future, so just keep this thing in mind. Then we also have Unsteady Ground. Unsteady Ground is just a damage upgrade to our final hit with our primary attack. It makes it so if enemies are closer, it does more damage. It can also hit farther, but doesn't do as much damage, and that's primarily it. It's an alright upgrade, and it is kind of one that I do like just because it is pretty hard to hit sometimes, so, you know, I'll take it. Then the last stuff on the primary, we have a Genius Day and Rocks in a Hard Place. Both of these moves are going to be dealing with our little hand clap that we have, and they both do the same thing practically. And that is give us more little gem balls. The first one makes it so anytime you use the clap 3 spawn, then the other one allows you to keep pressing O just to spawn even more. Now, there's not like any particular buffs to it. I saw that last time it did 9, now it's actually doing 11. But other than that, being able to spawn more of these balls is just not that fun to do. You just sit there looking like an idiot. I'm fine with it with the hand clap just because it's more of a passive thing than something you have to specifically think about doing. But the other one's just kind of buns, and I've literally never used it until one specific upgrade that we'll get to into the future. So pretty boring for the last 2, I would say. Then we have the Seismic Smasher path where we get gifts of deadlift and caving in. I told you those gem balls are going to come into play in the future, but I'm telling you, there's so much more to see. With gifts of deadlift, now our primary attack can give us those little gem balls, which I guess is kind of cool. Every single move that we have now can give us those little balls. But at the same time, it's something that we already saw, and is something that just isn't really there creatively. And that also goes with caving in. It gives us more gems with our final hit of our primary attack, so it's bigger, does more damage. But again, already seen it before, and I just want to see something a little bit new, man. So hopefully the next move can have a little bit something more of a flavorful taste. Because right now, all I'm tasting with Barbella and her moveset is just like salt. You get it? Because there's like, she's a rock, and like salt is like on rocks, and then there's also like salt rocks. So it's like a really good joke if you really think about it. Then last up, we have Rocky Roads. This allows us to summon a line of gems anytime we do our combo and get to our 3rd hit. This line reaches a pretty far range, doing 50 damage. It does it multiple times to a singular enemy if they're still in it, so it's honestly a pretty great move. Other than that though, it doesn't really shake up anything too different. It's just something that's kind of passively there, but at least it's something different than the stupid granite balls. Now we have the Ruler of Rocks, and we're starting off for the Crater Good and Rocky Rebound. Here comes the rock crystals once again. The ability we gained this this time is that anytime we hit an enemy, there's a chance that we'll spawn a couple of them, and anytime we hit the rock balls, they can sometimes fly back at enemy and hit them again. Now, I feel like a broken record when I say this, but there's literally not much to talk about here. These stupid granite balls don't really do that much damage. It's nice that I guess they can fly back, and I guess it's nice that you can just hit enemies and get them passively. It's just not that exciting to show or do or even to fucking explain. But this is better than I think the top path, and it all comes down to the soul gem, so the faster we get there, the cooler things you can see, I guess. Then for the last thing, we have Boulder and the Wiser. They spawn more, and they crit when they come back. Guess it's cool. Yeah, that's it. Then we have Taken for Granted. This is where every single one of those rock upgrades that we got finally come to fruition. This move allows us that anytime we do the clap move and then repeatedly press O, we get into a super state. In this state, we take less damage and we spawn more rock balls. While also, anytime we press square, those rock balls fly towards us. Now that's why I prefer the bottom path comparatively to the top one. They just give you a lot more that you can use during this soul gem, but overall, nothing too fancy. It's a good move. It is fun to use, just seeing everything go crazy, and also just being able to waltz into anybody you really care to, since it's not like you're gonna be taking that much damage. But I think me and you both know there's nothing too crazy about this. Then even for the Sky Chi, we have Do You Even Lift? Now this one's probably my favorite one just because she shoots rocks out of her pussy, and I find that to be really, really cool. Does pretty solid damage. And yeah, I don't really count Sky Cheese, but this one's probably one of my favorites. With that, that is Barbella. I won't lie to you, she is probably one of the most boring characters I had to talk about so far. I went and looked and see how many rock upgrades there were for those stupid balls, and there was 7 out of the 14 moves she can have. 7 of them were rock upgrades. 2 of those being in the primary path, 1 being in the top path, 3 in the bottom path, and then 1 as the soul gem. That is genuinely insane. Now you can boost it to 1 more if you want to use the runic cubic root thing, but overall, it is actually insane how many get used up with these stupid rocks. It just kind of made her feel like she was never really upgrading, in the sense that I would practically see everything. Then not even to mention the other ones that just kind of upgraded the gems over and over. It just made a character that did get stronger, but just felt so lackluster. Overall though, I think I'm gonna have to give Barbella at least a 3 out of 5. Thank you guys for watching this episode of Honestly Rated. Let me know what you think of Barbella in the comments below. Also tell me what Skylander you want to see next. These come out every single Saturday, so if you want to subscribe, that would be nice, but I would like to see you back next Saturday. And if you want to watch any more Honestly Rated, click on that playlist that's on your screen now. Thank you guys for watching all the way through, and I hope to see you and everybody else in the next one. Peace.